people that study history that do not have jobs. And I just dumped it. And I put law as my first choice. I put mass communication as my second choice. And I do not remember what I put as my third choice. And I was on holiday when I got my result, and they told me you've been admitted to Uniben to study English and Literature, BA in Arts, so Bachelor's of Arts. And I'm like, okay, I didn't know English and Literature had Bachelor's of Arts. I just assumed it was just solely education. Now, this is the job of the school counselor that should have enlightened me about all of this. And they knew I was good in English and I was good in literature. And I took it as my course. Like, I had people, family members telling me, wait 1 more year, I'll get you into law, or we can do transfer. And I know somebody in Uniben. And I was like, I think I'm fine with this, because I finally understood what I wanted to do when I got the English degree. I knew I always used to write as a young age. I always used to read books, and I was like, I might as well go and read a book. And we can skip the whole what does a school guidance counselor do and just go to the next thing. So I went into uni and I started with English, and I have to say that your circle matters. Your circle is one of the most important things when you are growing, because there's always room for extra things to come in. And why I say your circle matters is because, so if Tolu can just zoom in a little bit, I just wanted to point something in my work history. So I entered uni in 2010. I resumed 2011, and I graduated in 2014. In 2011, when I was done with my 100 level, I said I wanted to work. So I just knew I wanted to work. So I went to Silverbed then, and they told me I needed an accent. What accent could I do? And I didn't want to work in radio. I didn't want to be an OAP. I wanted to write news. But unfortunately, I couldn't meet the news people because they weren't around. And I went back to school and I told my classmates, my friends in school, and I said, I want to get a job in Silverbed. I've gone there. And there was a lot of talk about, are you sure that you can handle this? English is already hard as it is. There's so many books to read. And then I let so much get in the way of my decision-making process, and I let them persuade me. By my 300 level, I told myself I did not want to do this anymore. And that was when I actually reached out. When I was in Abuja for the holiday, it was like a 1-month holiday. And I was like, I want to work. I want to work in this radio, because I've always had a thought process. I want to work in radio. I want to write news. And to write news, you have to work somewhere. And what's the best way for you to learn is by doing internships, regardless of how long it is, even if it's for a month, for 2 months, for 6 months. It's just constantly putting yourself out there to seek work. They will give you rubbish to do, but you will still do it, and you will learn what you can learn. And I remember that I was lucky, fortunate with the person I got, the OAP I got. And the first day I go on set, he just puts me on the spot and says, I have somebody special. I have somebody with me today. Please introduce yourself. Somi, say hi. And I say, good morning, everybody. My name is Somi. And he goes, I said, Somi, I just said, say hi. So I said, hi. And from there, he would just put me on the spot. And this was during the economic summit. So I will be there, and he has given me headphones to use. And then he just asked me a question about, Somi, what did they say in the summit today? And I'm just like, you do not want to go and embarrass yourself. So I had to learn how to look at the bigger picture, read news. I was obsessed with Disney Channel then. I used to always watch Disney. My sister came home one day and saw me watching CNN and then TA to see what was going on, just so that I wouldn't go to this job and embarrass myself. And all this while, in my 200 level, when I went to like a literary event, I already started speaking to authors and telling them that I would love to be like an editor stroke a food book critic. And they just started telling me, to be an editor or a book critic, you have to write. You cannot come and be editing somebody's book without knowledge of writing. So I started working with a blog, Wolfac's Diaries. It was very small, and I just used to edit and proofread articles. I still do it on the side up to now. I edit and proofread like currently, and I get paid for it, which is fun. But that's not what I'm currently pursuing, because but I still know that I like editing and proofreading because I want to do that. So I told myself I had to better myself. I had to learn, I had to get a certain kind of job to fulfill that experience I needed. I will, if I say, like, if they ask me, will you do it all over again and start working 100 level? I probably would try to do it, but I am not sure I would have had the emotional intelligence to handle the workspace pressure in my 100 level or my 200 level, because these are things that they do not teach us, and these are the things that our secondary schools do not even prepare us for. So in that whole time of my university, and when I was waiting for my for NYSC, I worked as a spoken words groomer and I worked there for 2 good years, and I taught other things apart from this competition. I was also teaching children during summer school. Then I did the editor bit and I did the radio. So I already had radio experience, editorial experience, and actually speaking experience, which was one of the things I was going for. And in English, there were no presentations. I used to act just because I knew I needed to be I needed to get to a certain level in my public speaking experience or prowess. So we just go to how I stumbled into PR. Like I was telling you about my experience. So when I was done with school, I knew I wanted to work. I wanted to still do something in the book industry. I'm a planner, so I sort of had like my own 5 year, my 5 year in view. I knew that I wanted to serve in a school because I wanted to have like the teaching experience in case this was something that I decided to pursue when I was older with kids. This is a personal decision. And then I knew that if I wanted to work in the book industry to edit or critic, I have to work in a book company to just get involved and know what the market is like. And I gave a friend my CV to review, and then she just goes, "Oh, we're looking for you, somebody like you." Exactly. And I'm just saying my CV was zero. All I had on my CV was what so the slide before, and then I had my NYSC on it. And I'm like, what did you see in my CV that made you want to take me? And I'm sure it was because of all the extra things I had already done. So I worked there for about 14 months, and I needed a change. Like I needed to do more, and I knew I didn't know I didn't know anything about PR. I just knew that there was like the advertising space, and I really love advertising. I love everything comms, everything advertising. So PR, um, ads, digital. I just loved everything. And mind you, when I was in, this is when I say maturity, when I was in 200 level, I actually had the opportunity of, somebody offered me an opportunity to manage Ruby Gang's social media. That was the whole Loopy record then when MI just started his own record label. And I didn't know how I was going to balance it with school, because my circle kept on pushing about how schoolwork is so much. So I might have had more experience now on my CV if I had just jumped for it and just tried it and seen where it went. But do I regret it? No, I don't. But because I finally know that social media is not my calling, so I do not regret it. So when I was looking for a job, my sister sent me, my current company, Redrick, sent me their flyer from Bella Nigeria that I should apply. And I had applied in an advertising firm, and when I went to present, I was just not confident. I did the slides. The slides were beautiful. I knew what I was talking about. But when I went there, I just fumbled my way through it. And I just knew that I needed more. And then when my sister sent me the flyer for my current company, Redrick, I went and I did a little bit of research on like PR. And a few months before then, I had officially started my blog again, because I used to blog then when I was in my 100 level, 200 level, and I used to write stories then. So I restarted it again. And then when I read about what PR was about and how PR was so heavy on content, on written content and press releases and coming up with like your copies have to be solid, your writing skills have to be solid. Nobody's going to say you're going to be perfect, but that's what you have, like a superior to teach you and edit and work on, and you'll get there. So I had gone to the interview, and she asked me different questions, and then she now goes, so what do you do on the side, and what do you like? And I'm like, I'm like, I like writing. And then she said, what have you written? And I'm like, I just started my blog. And then she goes, send me your blog link. And I sent it to her, and I just left it. And one of the things I remembered about it was the fact that you can say you like to do something, you can say you like to write, but if you're not putting out what you write, regardless of how scared you might be, there's nobody that's going to see it and refer to it as your work, because it doesn't exist. It only exists in your laptop or your phone or your notebook or your diary. So I was so happy that I had finally put out content again, and where my writing had already matured. And I was like, okay, good and fine. And she called me up, and I started working there. And I will not lie to you, I know PR is where I should be. It's where I was meant to be. But they were just not the right processing in check for me to start my journey early enough. So I'll go to the next slide. So I had to do like this. So these are things I wish I knew before I started college and during college. So that's during uni. And I actually came up with most of these things on the list because these are personal things that I wished I knew. So what do I see myself doing with my degree? So why I asked this question was because in school I had people that did not know what they wanted to do with English. Like they just came to school to go to school and any job mattered. But I knew that I wanted to do something with English. I knew I did not want to go away. I knew I didn't want to work in a bank. I knew I wanted to do comms. I knew I wanted to be in media. I just knew that was my space. As long as I was writing, I'm happy. As long as I'm writing, I'm happy. So I really I want to say that when you are deciding, you really need to put some time into thinking about the direction you want to go with your career. And this when you have this, when you think about these things, it also directs the kind of jobs you accept, the kind of roles you search for, even during school. There are a lot of school internships that you could do and duplicate. And now that the world is so digital, there are so many websites you can work on online. There's so many like sites you can write for currently. So there are no limits on like when we were in university, which is just 5 years ago. We cannot technology wasn't as great as it was then as it is now. So I did that. So my second point was English literature is a great course, but doesn't score you any points with NIPR. So NIPR is the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, and I have been trying to get my certification for like my PR certification, and I realized that the only courses they recognize actually, I think is mass comm. I think it's mass comm. I can't really remember it, but I just know that for English, my course wasn't recognized, which means I have to take the whole diploma again. And diploma is there are about 15 to 20 something courses for this certification. And this is things that I try to say. So my sister had the opportunity of she is a human resource she's a human resource exec, so she studied human resource in school, and they have this thing called the CIPR. And then throughout the whole university, she had the opportunity to complete her whole CIPR journey. And it's one of the things I wish I had known. I wish I had known what NIPR was, and when my brain was still fresh and I was reading for exams, I would have started it at the same time. And this is something I want a lot. If you're deciding to go into PR, this is something that you should just start now while you're still in uni, because you are already reading for your courses, already reading for your exams. So it's something that will help you regardless. Your brain is fresh, and everything just sits perfectly at this time. And when you're done with school, you already have your NIPR. It's amazing. And the next one I want to say was read and research. So this is read and research opportunities in your field. Read and research more about things you can do. Like, it's reading, you can never stop reading, you can never stop researching. That's your brain has room for expansion. You've not touched the surface of the capacity of your brain to absorb information. There's
so much more like your brain can take. So never stop reading and never stop researching. And that's one of the things I wish I knew. I was so it was okay. It's okay to pass. It's okay to pass. But then is another thing for you to have knowledge handed down to you and not fully understanding it. And when you have knowledge handed down to you and you understand it and you seek out more, there's a difference between the two of you. You are not the same at all. There's a difference, a massive difference. So the next one was peer pressure never helped anyone. Eliminate toxic people. And I'm not saying that my friends were toxic. All I'm just saying is that sometimes it's always good to have. There's nothing wrong in having different circles, like a circle that is your career circle, a circle that is your prayer circle, a circle that is your party circle. There's nothing wrong in having. It's great if you have that one friend that is all of it, but then there's nothing wrong in having different sets of friends that and I'm so sorry about that. I'm so sorry about that. So, and everybody has like a purpose in your life. So it's very okay to know who serves a purpose in your life at that point in time. So for me, was personal, never stop writing. And in PR, never stop writing. Because at the end of the day, everything PR boils down to what you are is you are the storyteller of a brand. And you have to tell your stories convincingly. You have to be convinced. You like everybody that reads your story has to be convinced, whether it's an emotional thing you're trying to pass across to the people, they must be convinced by what you write. So understanding, never stop writing, never stop getting better, never stop researching on how to be better. Write it, reach out to blogs. Please, I want you to publish my story. If they turn it down, they've turned it down. It doesn't mean that your article was bad. It just meant that, and this type of thing, this is why I say when you have this confidence and you have this, you can send an email back. Please, can you tell me why you didn't approve why my article wasn't published, and how can I become better? This I feel like when you ask, there's nothing wrong in asking. The worst thing they'll tell you is no. The best is yes. But then when you don't ask, you never get that yes or no that would push you forward. So I said internships are essential. Like working where if you have the opportunity, please go out there and look for an internship. 2 months, 1 month. And this, let me just say this, it's not about the money, it's about what you gain that you can use in the future. Sometimes when you do things, it's not because of monetary gain, it's because you are looking 2 years ahead, you're looking 3 years ahead, you're looking way ahead. That's why you make certain decisions that you make. So on the second last was reach out to people in the industry you want to be in. So there are different. Oh, I love Nigerian women in PR for this platform, because when I joined, I didn't even know who to reach out to, and they've created such a platform whereby you have people at your fingertips, people that are not way older than you. You can it's not somebody that will tell you, you must call me Mrs. Ife. I'm not married, by the way. But then you have somebody that is within your age group that you can have proper conversations with, that are not shadowed by age difference and an age gap that can cause miscommunication. So one of the things I learned was I needed to speak better. So that's one of the things I was learning about, the fact that when you're a PR, you are constantly talking to somebody. You are talking to clients, you are talking to media, you are talking to your guests, you are talking to influencers, you are constantly talking to somebody. And when you can't speak well, when you cannot defend what you stand for, what you're trying to sell to these media people, then you've wasted your time and you've wasted the media person's time. And that's one thing you do not want to do, because a wasted time can be a loss of a media relation that you have been building for years or months. So join as many debate groups as you can find, if you can find any, or public speaking, and just express yourself. So I ended this with PR rides on the wings of effective communication. And I said this because everything you do is communication. And if what you say is not clear and concise, if your target audience are people that understand simple English, then speak to them in simple English. If they are the ones that understand Pidgin, then speak to them in Pidgin. This effective communication is when your communication is received and understood with feedback from the right target audience. All you've done, if you speak English, blah 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 blah, and you're selling to the people in like this the C class, the C class people, and you speak the business I want to sell is so great and is efficient and ebullient and great and blah 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 blah, and you're trying to sell it to the market woman. The market woman is going to look at you and be like, okay, so what did you just say? But if you say that to somebody that the HNIs or the open HNIs, they're like, oh my, yes, this makes sense. This is vibing with me. All this big grammar is working for me. They won't say all this big grammar is working for me, mind you, don't mind me. But then the whole essence of PR is effective communication, and it can never be overemphasized. So the topic was my PR, things I wish I knew as an undergraduate, and I have told you all. But then one of the things I will add is that anybody you know, or that person that you think is in a position to advise and help, don't be shy to reach out to them. Don't be shy to ask questions. Don't be shy to dig a little more. People will not, if you do not ask, people will not know what you are looking for or what is going on with you. So do not be afraid to ever ask. And will I do it all over again? I don't think I will. I feel like there's a reason why I went through that, so that I could be here to make sure somebody else doesn't go through similar situations I went through, go through the same experience. So for over the past 3 years, almost 4, that I've worked in PR, I've learned. I've gone into the bathroom to just let a little steam off because something wasn't going so well, but every single time is a learning experience for me. And that's one thing I want everybody to go back with, is the fact that never stop learning, never stop trying to know more, to do more. And because you're an undergraduate doesn't mean that you can't do more, doesn't mean that you are not as intelligent as somebody that's a graduate. It just means that you might have to put more effort to get to that level of a graduate. So it's something that you should never do. And I hope my experience helps you or helps somebody get to their achieved goal, like get to the achieved goal. And I hope that you know that many of we that come to speak here, we're always available on Instagram, on LinkedIn, anywhere, on Twitter, for any questions you might have about your career. And the Nigerian Women in PR, the platform is there for anybody who has questions. We're always willing to answer, and we're always willing to help. If you need an internship, there's nothing wrong in reaching out to us, because at the end of the day, that's the reason why the platform was formed. It was formed to create opportunities like this for young people coming into the PR industry, young people that are going to take over and move the PR industry forward where it's supposed to be in the next 10 years, 15 years. So do not be shy. And I want to leave you with something. I learned something recently about peer-to-peer relations, and it was my current media relations, my media people are within my price range. And I was having a discussion with somebody about this thing. Mentors are great, like older mentors are great, but then you can never overemphasize peer-to-peer mentorship, because there is a growth, like the growth between the two of you are the same. You are experiencing the same thing, just that somebody else might be in a different industry. So the person might be a mentor because they have emotional intelligence, and you wanted to mentor you in how to be emotionally intelligent and how you interact with people. The other person can be an expert in storytelling, and you're like, I like the way you tell your story, and I want you to be my mentor. And they can be your mates, they can be your peers, they can be few years your junior, few years your senior. Why I'm saying this is because when my current media people are actually in my age range and my work range, and I
I know that as I'm growing, they're also growing. So when I'm finally reaching my peak of my career, they are also at the peak of their career. And these are people that we've both helped each other grow. And that's what media, that's what media relations is. And your PR lies so much on your relationship with media. And so this continuous relationship that you have built for 10 years, you might think that you are not seeing it now, but with time it will start trickling. So I want to leave you with, you always look out for peer-to-peer relationships. Will never ever fail you if you make relationships with the right people. I know all the people I have worked with, the photographers that my friends, that my age mates that were working together, the graphics people that were working together. And I keep on seeing as we're all growing at the same pace. There's this, the more I grow, the more I want them to grow. So when I'm even reaching out, when I was in PR in like 2007, 17, the amount of money that they are paying me and paying them is not the same. Now we've worked together for 4 years. All our works have grown, and we've grown in our creativity and everything. There's promotion and there's upgrade, and we'll keep on growing. But because you have that relationship that you have been building over and over, there's a different kind of interaction that the two of you have, and that's something you want to develop and you want to keep on doing. Thank you so much for letting me talk to you about my experience, and I hope like my experience helps somebody, hopefully. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sumi. That was a fantastic presentation, and I hope that all our participants obviously had a good time listening to you share your experience about the things that you wish you knew. Of course, the conversation is ongoing on Twitter. If you're part of the participants this evening, please share your experiences, your thoughts on Twitter using the hashtag NGWIPR Student Summit. I would be able to retweet and of course see your contribution to the conversation as well. Thank you so much, Sumi, for sharing your thoughts with us. And I think that that's a fantastic place for me to then go to the next section in our agenda this evening, where I talk to our participants about the Nigerian Women in PR Student Ambassadorship Program. I absolutely love that Sumi spoke about internships and then peer-to-peer mentorship and conversations, and as she said, that's exactly the foundation on which Nigerian Women in PR is formed. Not many people understand what PR is. So sometimes even when you're speaking to people either in different careers and you're trying to explain what you really do, it's difficult for people to get you. People who are not like you or who are not doing the work that you're doing, it's difficult for them to get you. And that's why we created this community where, as professionals in public relations, we understand what the challenges of the job are. We understand the challenges that we all go through on the job. And so we've created this community to encourage ourselves, to support ourselves, and to inspire ourselves. Now, for our students on campus, number one, the PR Summit itself is designed to help undergraduates identify public relations as a potential career path for them after graduation. For many undergraduates, especially in the social sciences and arts, they probably think of mass communication as media, as broadcast journalism, or as print journalism. Public relations is a viable career option that you can start to think about. And that's why we've brought people like Somi and Janet to talk to you about how they started in their own career, so that you can see the opportunities available for you and also begin to fashion and think if this is something that really works for you. Now, to help us pursue that objective for our campuses, Nigerian Women in PR has designed a student ambassadorship program where 5 deserving and brilliant undergraduate female students in each university that we go to are opportune to sign up with us as student ambassadors. These 5 ladies will begin to work. They will help us to promote the objectives and vision of Nigerian Women in PR on their campuses while getting hands-on public relations experience as undergraduates. What this would mean is that you'll come up with ideas, events, programs, initiatives in your school as a team. So doing this with us means that you're going to be learning teamwork hands-on. You're going to be handling stakeholder management because you'll be responsible for helping us facilitate conversations amongst management, amongst your HODs, amongst faculty members, helping us to organize courtesy visits, helping us to organize events in your school, to make sure that everybody really on campus understands what public relations is. The other part of the work that we do at Nigerian Women in PR is public education. It is only when the public understands the importance of public relations that they can appreciate the practitioners of the profession, right? So we take public education very seriously, and we want to go back to the grassroots, right? And speak to students while they're on campus, so that in 10 years' time, you guys are going to be the one managing institutions, leading teams. If you understand the importance of public relations now, when PR people begin to submit proposals to you later in future, you will understand the work that these guys are doing, and you will understand the language that they are speaking. So we have the opportunity for 5 brilliant ladies to sign up as student ambassadors from the University of Uyo. If you'd like to apply, you please send your CV and an application to ngwomeninpr@gmail.com. I'm going to type it in the comment box, ngwomeninpr.com. Please share the information as well to friends, colleagues. We'll also be sharing the link to this recording as well for people who have not been opportune to attend the event. They can watch the session and of course apply as student ambassadors. As I said, the application is a keenly contested screening, and we only choose the very best. We have student ambassadors at the moment at the University of Lagos. We have student ambassadors at the University of Ibadan. We would like to extend this to the University of Uyo as well. So I'm going to call up our next speaker. Before I do that, I want to say again, thank you so much, Somi, for joining us for speaking to our participants this evening, speaking to them about your experience and what you wish you knew as an undergraduate. Thank you so much for your time this evening. I'll move on quickly to Janet Akko. Janet Akko, thank you. Janet Akko is a public relations and communicating professional with a blend of digital and traditional PR. She currently works at Red Gecko PR, a subsidiary of Verdant Zeal Group, where she is a client service executive. Creatively, she is evolving into becoming a media expert through the provision of bespoke services in media relations, corporate communications, industry relations, and community relations. She has worked on several brands, helping to improve their communication strategies and to tell their story. She is the co-founder of Making a Difference, an NGO created mainly to help the less privileged, and she is a PR manager for Victoria Adeyoju Male Mentorship Foundation. She's a graduate of Mass Communication at Jackson University and has a national diploma in communications. At various times, Janet has interned with DKK Nigeria, an integrated marketing solutions firm, where she worked on several brands from brainstorm session to execution. She also freelanced with Youth Digest, Gen 122 UK, and Hint Magazine. Hint Magazine. We read that a lot. That's interesting that it's still around. Okay. She's an associate member of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome Janet Akko.
Thank you very much, Tolu. Thank you, everyone. So I will be talking about my PR, what I did while I was in school as an undergraduate. But then I'll quickly brush through my slides. I believe that, okay, so when I reached out to Tolu, I was thinking that it might be that people that would come online might not necessarily know what PR meant. So I, just did something on what PR is, the meaning of PR, some of the highlights of PR, and then I'll just brush through them quickly. So okay, there's this Mexican statement of what PR means, the act and social science of analyzing trend, predicting the consequences, counseling organizational structures, and preparing plan program of actions. But then, since we are looking at not really the theory part of what PR means, we're actually taking it to PR in agencies, PR in markets, PR managing persons, and all of that. So I will quickly pick the highlights from those definitions, since we are it is real life issues we are looking at. Okay, so some of the highlights on the definitions are the emphasis that public relation is both art and social sciences. Because I remembered when I was in school, they were saying that, okay, if you go to art class, you don't have to do mathematics. If you go to science, you have to do maths. Maths is actually a compulsory subject. But then, coming to art and doing PR, I discovered that, man, we use data. You do market research, you compile data together, then you now bring out a conclusion. So you will still do mathematics. So now saying that public relation is both art and science, it means that you have to do your market research. That's the science part of it. You want to go to the market, you want to work with data, you want to outsource some of these things, you want to blend all your data together, gather your information, and then you want to come up with a plan. Now we also emphasize that PR is planned. You don't just wake up one morning and say, okay, this is what we want to do, let's just do it, and then you don't have a plan. You've not done your strategy meeting, you don't have anything you want to do, you just want to come up with a plan. PR is planned. And then emphasis on public interest. PR has the interest of the public, because as a PR person, you are standing as a middleman between the organization and the public. So you want to have the public interest at heart. I remember back then in school, then our lecturer would say something about Indomie, that there was a time Indomie was killing people, and so they had to tell maybe the manager or then to come out and eat Indomie in front of everybody, like on national TV, so that people can be addressed. That's a PR strategy, coming to tell people that, okay, since everybody says PR says noodles kills people, why not come out and eat Indomie in front of everyone? So they're having the interest of the public at heart. That's why they came up with that strategy. Then the fact that PR analyzes trend. The world is evolving. So we want to keep up with the trend. Every day something comes up, you want to jump on trend. PR also jump on trend. While jumping on trend, we don't want to forget that there are consequences. You jump on a trend and then you want to manage crisis. So the best thing to do is to have foresight as a PR person. Also, emphasis on outward and inward communication. You are standing as the PR person for the company and for clients, for the outside. I'd say in the agency where you work or the organization where you work, you are the PR person. You want to pass memo around the office. You want to send mails. You want to come up with a plan, say employee to management and all of that. Then emphasis on achieving specific objectives. So public relations usually must have objective. They are not really so thorough though, but then every PR plan, every PR strategy must have objective. So I move on to how I was able to, my PR experience, what I did while in school as an undergraduate. Now, my choice of career, back then in secondary school, I remember that, okay, I wanted to do something in media. I wanted to go to the arts department, but then, basically we're all saying that if you want to go to all, the most profession people prefer is either you are a doctor, you are you're a lawyer, or you're an engineer, you're a pilot. That was the basic thing that we had in mind. And so, but then I just knew I didn't want to be a doctor. I didn't want to, seeing blood was not my thing. I didn't want to fly planes. You get phobia for height and all of that. And then I was like, okay, I think I want to do communication, but I just didn't even know there was something called PR. So I did arts. From there, I volunteered. I was, I think, the president of the Young Journalist Club in school back then. Every Friday, we're always reading news writing both global and local stories, and we're always seeing them on the assembly ground on Fridays. You get, so after doing all of that, I finished secondary school and I was thinking, okay, let me just do mass communication. I was asking my elder sister, she was saying, okay, there's mass communication and you can check jam site and all of that. And I found out that, okay, I was like, okay, let me pick law as first choice. If they don't give me law, they'll give me mass communication. Or yes, I was just shuffling around. If they don't give me this, they'll give me that. If they don't give me law, they'll give me mass communication. So I think I got mass communication in diploma, and there. Okay, so as a mass communication student, you have the opportunity to pick a major. Either you pick from broadcast, you pick print, or you pick public relations and advertising. So I picked public relations and advertising. I didn't even know what it was, but I just knew I didn't want to be an on-air person. I didn't want to be on TV. I didn't want to start writing on paper. But then, little did I know that public relations has a blend of both for print and broadcast. You are writing press releases, you are doing media buying for brands. So then I joined public relations and advertising, and we had hands-on assignments, things to talk about. Lecturers will come in and say, okay, today we are looking at this brand, we want to pick this, okay, or we are managing crisis. You guys are into groups. I'm going to put you people in groups, and then you have to talk about this, talk about that. There are topics to talk about, and then everybody has to come out and say something about it. You either perform what it is, and then you have a score. Say that's your test score. So you know that you have to get it done. So I think that was where I started the whole, I think I like this. And then the lecturer is always saying, you guys should be corporate, come to class, just corporate, and all of that. So it was, I think I liked it. I was really interested because of those practicals we were doing, coming to class. There was always something to look out for. It was interactive and all. So then when I finished diploma, I said, okay, I think I need to do a degree in this particular course. So I applied, and then I did my degree in communication. Now it was more serious. It wasn't like I was doing diploma anymore. It was very serious now. So 300 level, we had to pick majors. So I still picked my same major, public relations and advertising. And it was serious because I had a lecturer then who teaches us with Braille. And imagine somebody teaching you with Braille, teaching you something that a syllabus that they used maybe in 1990 something, and then he's having to teach you in 2000, 2008, 2007, 2008, 10, 12 thereabouts. He's having to teach you with that syllabus of what he has used for past students. PR is evolving. These are the things that some of these lecturers need to know, that the syllabus need to change. But then we still kept on going with him. He gives us this definition. You have to give him word for word what he gives to you. So we did all of that. There were practicals. There were times where we had to write our own story and get bylines, and that would be your test result. So if your byline doesn't come out this time, the appointed time, then you've wasted your 40 marks. So we had publications. I schooled in Ondo State, so we had publications in the national paper there. So many publications. So writing tests was not even our thing. We were always having bylines. You have bylines this week, you have bylines next week, and it's not like it's a group thing where you have to sideline yourself or somebody is doing the job for you. It is your name on it. So that's what also helped me in discovering PR, discovering the career path. And then I was intentional about my choice of career. I was really, really intentional about it. I knew that this was what I wanted. I didn't even know that there were PR agencies. You could work in comms of companies and all. I didn't know. So during internship, I came back from school and I needed to intern somewhere. So I got placement in one of the agencies, and I think I liked it. I really liked it. I liked the fact that it was something new. I remember press releases I wrote then, they were always trash. They threw them into trash. They didn't even use them. I kept writing. I can write like 5 paragraphs, and then they would just pick 1 paragraph from my 5 paragraphs. But then I wasn't discouraged. There were still people that still would say, Janet, you can do this. Just keep on doing it. You can do this. You can do it. You can achieve it. It's possible. We also started somewhere. You get the whole school thing was not what was in the industry. What we were being taught in school was not what was in the industry. Imagine you writing a news story or writing a press release, and then you are having an 80 from 100, and then you come to real life and you're writing a press release and it's not even, it won't fly. So you're like, but these people really taught me well. These people, explained to me that this is how it should be. But then in the industry, it is not that way. But I wasn't discouraged. I was really intentional about it. And industry followership. So I had people that, okay, I looked up to. I wanted to follow people on Twitter. I wanted to follow people on LinkedIn. I wanted people to mentor me. I wanted to pitch myself to people, for the industry followership, because I know this time around it's not it's people who ask you, what do you have to offer? Why should I bring you in? What do you have to offer? Why should I bring you in? So all of this helped in discovering my choice of career. It helped for me while I was in school, and it really paid a lot. So in school back then, we usually do. There were times that they would talk about. We participated in strategy documents. You are picking a brand, or you are picking an agency that has a crisis story, and you want to manage it. So there are times that we have to. There are times that we have to pick a brand and talk about the brand. Treat life issues that were serious about the brand. We had to do all of that back in school, and then um, headed all group assignments for pitching. I was always the group leader. If they were like, a lecturer says, so who are we using for this? I would always come up to say, I think I can do this. I want to do this. I want to do that. I was always heading all group assignments. Started with strategy documents. I didn't even know how to use PowerPoint. I didn't know how to do a slide back then. But then we kept practicing. You want to submit an assignment, it has to be on a slide. You want to submit a strategy document, you have to do it on a slide. You just can't type it on Word and give it to them. So we started from there, then volunteered so I started volunteering. Then someone told me, there's this youth digest, they have a magazine, they have this, you can write for them, they have blog, you can write blog posts for them. I started writing for them. It would reach out to me and I'll say, oh, I want to write this. It wasn't for monetary, it wasn't about the money now. I was doing all of these things for free. Hints magazine. I reached out to a lady. She told me, okay, you need to write this and send to me. I started writing for her. She liked it. I would send my articles to her. She would correct them, send them back to me. I was always volunteering to do things. And the Hope newspaper, it was because our lecturers were always saying that the test scores were based on having a byline. So it became a habit. I kept doing it. I kept writing stories. And then I think I remembered that I went for an award that, I had to pitch myself for an award. And then the entries were your stories. The entries were the bylines that I had. So I just put up all the bylines I had, and then I sent it in, and I won the best entertainment writer back then in 2018. So, and then internship during holidays. Anytime I'm home for holiday, there's always something to do. I either go to some of these places I have done internship. I go there. There are things to do, assignments to do. I kept doing that. I was intentional, and then I attended events. Okay, so Triple AN. I remember attending Triple AN events. I met people. Spoke with people, met people that I needed to follow up, and it was really fun. So something about PR is that PR is interesting. It's not a 9 to 5 job. It's not something that's okay. This is how it should be. No, it is not like that. You are in your house, and then you get a call. Okay, this has happened to this, and then you need to manage this. You have to do something about it. It is fun. There are times you have to be creative. You have to think out of the box. So what should I do? Because you're an image maker for a brand. What should I do? As the image maker for the brand, what should I do? What would people want me to do now? Since you are standing as the middleman between the agency, and so you're like, what should I do between and the agency? So what should I do? What would the people want me to do? What do they want right now? So you have to be able to pitch the brand in front of the general public so that you can meet up the objectives. I move to the next slide. Okay, so I said my work experience. Now, how I was able to take advantage of the opportunities that were available for me in PR, my social media, research, writing, pitching, placements. I do research a lot, like a lot of research. Um, you have you want to there's somebody sent in a brief and you have to check out. Okay, you've not even worked on. Say you've not worked on an entertainment brand before, and then there's a brief that comes in for an entertainment brand. You don't even know anything about it, or there's an alcohol brand that comes in and you don't even know anything about it. I do research a lot. And there are times that you need to check social media. Okay, so what is happening? What are the people saying? What's trending? What do we need to follow? What do we need to follow to pitch ourselves? Then pitching. I was always pitching myself. I could, okay, see this person, pitch myself, talk to this person. Okay, I remember the first time that where I work currently, I met the CEO, and then he was like, tell me, why should I employ you? You get, it was my one time chance. I had to say something. I just knew I had to say something. Imagine putting you somewhere with, say, an Otedola or a Dangote, and then you have to say something about yourself. You have, say, 10 minutes to say something about yourself. You have to pitch yourself. You're a communication person. You're an image maker. You're a communicator. So you have to say something about yourself. Now, PR is persuasion business. I'm trying to convince an audience inside your building or town and outside your usual sphere of influence to promote idea, purchase products, support position, or recognize accomplishments. So PR has all of this encompassing. And then PR is more or less like you are picking from both print, you are picking from broadcast. You have a brand come to you, you will write press releases. So you need to keep writing. You have a brand come to you, write press releases. You have a brand come to you and they want to have placements on TV. You have to do media buying. You have to do media buying. You know, it's encompassing all of this put together. So it's not like it is you are limited to just one thing. You're picking from broadcast, you're picking from print. You want to know how to write, you want to know how to write different kind of things. Say you have a client that is in telecommunications, you need to know how to write that way that the audience your public can relate with. So PR opportunities to interact with people from different industries, work experience in PR. You have the opportunity to interact with people from all different industries. You meet people from different industries, people from communications, you meet people in advertising, you meet people even in PR, you still do social media in PR. You want to reach out to an influencer. Is it that you are reaching out to a Twitter influencer, you are reaching out to an Instagram influencer? Some of these influencers will even tell you, okay, so you are paying me, what do you need me to write? They will tell you to write what they should post for you. So you are writing what they will post on their page, and they are influencing. They are influencers. Yet you are still writing what they will post. So you need to be evolving. You need to do research. You need to have little knowledge of everything because you work with different industries. Now, utilizing creativity, it is wide enough. You have to be creative. PR is creativity. You are sitting down and then something comes to mind. Something pops to your mind. Okay, you want to pick up something, you want to write it down. You want to add this to what you already have on ground. You want to add this to your brand. You want to tell a story about your brand. There was a time different banks came up and they were writing things, telling stories about themselves, and it was trending. You get, banks were jumping on it, creatives were coming out on it, and then people really liked it. So you want to be able to evolve with what is happening. No work day is the same. If you're in PR, there's no work day that is the same. There's always something new to do. There's always something new to talk about. There's always something new that you want to write about. We want to write on. There's never an ending range of opportunities. PR has so many range of opportunities. You don't need to work you don't necessarily have to work in a PR agency. There are so many places you can work in the communications department of any agency. Say you are the comms person. It's not a 9 to 5 job. You don't wake up 9 a.m. and then 5 a.m. you are done for the day. PR is every day. Then I get to meet VIPs and have access to them at big events. I attend big events. you know, I am at this fashion fair, I am at this food and drink, I am at this campaign, I am at this kids champion, I am at so many things. So you're working on a brand, and then there's something to do. There's always something to do on different brands. So you get to meet different people, you get to meet VIPs, you get to talk to them. So it's interesting. I am an image maker for brands, and you're an image maker. You're an image maker for brands, you're an image maker for different businesses. Next slide. Opportunities available in PR as a student. So now, as a student, there are different opportunities available for you that you can always utilize. You don't necessarily have to wait till you are done with school before you are able to utilize these opportunities. I didn't know of some of these things while I was in school. It was just, okay, do research, follow this person, talk to this person. Okay, I know this person, then, you know, and that's how I found out about it. But then there are so many ways you can do. There's Upwork. Upwork is a digital tool where professionals can leverage on their expertise and sell their services to clients. You know, you take advantage by offering your writing skills, your research skills, and you get paid. You get paid in dollars. Yeah. So as an undergraduate, you earn money. You have your profile on Upwork. Somebody needs to do this. They already see, okay, you can do this, is what you can do. They need somebody to do this for their brand, for their company. They reach out to you, and then voila, you are already collecting cash. You're collecting dollars. You're earning in dollars. So then volunteering, gaining work experience through volunteering activities. There's so many things you can volunteer to do. So many places you can volunteer for. It's not necessarily have to be. You don't have necessarily have to be paid. I work with an agency, an NGO, and I'm not getting paid for it, yeah. But then, you know, I keep doing it because I know that I like what I'm doing. And then the person sees your service. You imagine having to be able to push out your stories in different blogs and newspapers. You know, journalists at times can be very funny. You're pushing your stories, and then you have a deadline, and they're telling you they're sorry, your stories cannot come out because of this. And it's not like you are the one having the byline. They own the byline. Volunteering, gain work experience through volunteering activities offered to provide communication services to charity organizations to blog media organizations for free. You can get valuable experience that can help you in your future job search. Then internship, take advantage of long holidays to intern in communication outfits. There are always places you can intern. There are companies you can go to and, you know, do your internship. You don't necessarily have to get paid for. It's not about the money. So if you start with, I want to get paid, usually it doesn't end well. So if they see that, okay, this person has what it takes, you want to work in PR outfits, you want to work in advertising agencies, you're a copywriter, you know how to write, you can write well, and then gradually it starts from somewhere. The PR outfit, electronic outfit, and the print media. And so generally, I'll just say that pitching your good placements. If you have to, if somebody comes to you and says, "What can you offer? How can you go about this?" and you've not written anything, you've not written a story before, you don't even have to write a comprehension about yourself. You start from somewhere. You have to keep writing. There are even newspaper houses that when you write to them, you send them your articles, and before you know, they are published. You can keep writing to media agencies, because as a PR person, you would keep writing. It doesn't end that way. You keep writing. So then you have to industry followership. There are places and platforms that you should follow for mentorship that will mentor you to do the right thing, to go about the industry. There's Nigerian women in public relations, like Somi rightly said, that, you know, you reach out to them. They already gave a platform for young people, you know, undergraduates. So you reach out to them, pitch yourself to them, and then before you know it, you're already at the top of your career and you're already enjoying what you do. So thank you very much for this opportunity. I am really grateful, and I hope that we really learned a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Janet. This was a fantastic presentation. I absolutely loved the information that you provided. to our participants, especially about how public relations is not a 9-to-5 job. My God, that's so true. If you're expecting that, oh, once I start a job, or once I finish school and I get a placement in a PR firm, or I get a proper organization and I'm working in their communications unit, I'll resume at 8, close by 5, and then till the next day. I mean, you may want to reconsider your decision to work in PR, because it's a never-ending job. Public relations is like managing human beings, and you know how we human beings are. People change, things happen, events occur, accidents happen, and as a PR person in charge, you definitely will be called upon to prefer solutions or offer ideas on how things can be better managed. Your clients or your organizations have stakeholders you need to keep in touch with, your colleagues. You'll be working and encouraging your colleagues and trying to get them to be ambassadors of the organization. There are clients and customers who may be dragging your brand on social media, and you can't just be there looking. You understand? So it's a never-ending job, but I can assure you that if it is something that you are passionate about, you will find fulfillment in it. I think that Janet has found fulfillment and she's still continuing to find it. I think that Somi is completely enjoying her job from her presentation that you've heard. And I trust that as we encourage and share more of stories of young professionals in public relations who have crossed over successfully from undergraduate studies to actual professional work in public relations, you begin to see the value of the profession and the opportunities that it holds for you. We're getting to the end of the summit at the moment. Thank you, Janet Ako, for your fantastic presentation. To our participants, those here directly, and for those who will listen to the recording after the event, make sure that you tweet your observations, your comments, questions. Tweet at us on Twitter using the hashtag NGWIPR Student Summit, and we'll be able to respond and follow the conversation as well. We encourage you also to follow all our social media pages at NG Women in PR. We also encourage you to look out for our very big inaugural event happening on March 6th. I've said that University of Uyo is privileged to be the first set of people to hear that we're coming up with our inaugural event on the 6th of March. It's going to be phenomenal. Fantastic lineup of speakers. It's going to be an experience in public relations. We're going to be listening to business people tell us how public relations has impacted their businesses and helped them to achieve their objectives. And I'm not talking about CEOs of Mosafejo Enterprises. We're talking about group CEOs of multinational organizations operating in Nigeria. We're talking about speakers who are the heads of public relations units in multinational organizations, handling intergovernmental portfolios and stakeholder management. So I encourage you, look out for it. Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Somi, for your fantastic presentations at the PR Student Summit, University of Uyo Campus edition. We've also said earlier during the event that the outcome of the summit at each institution is that we invite 5 from each university to come on board with us and be our eyes, our ears, and our foot soldiers on their campuses. So if you'd like to apply as a student ambassador at the University of Uyo, please send us an email to ngwomeninpr@gmail.com with your CV and why you would like to be a student ambassador. At the moment, we have student ambassadors at the University of Lagos. We have student ambassadors at the University of Ibadan. Uyo is the 3rd university we're coming to, and we encourage you. Don't fall your hand though. Okay, so very quickly we'll run through the questions that our participants have submitted when they were registering for the event. I mean, some want to learn more about PR. So how do you job in public relations? How do you start and manage a PR firm? What are the differences between public relations and other similar concepts? I mean, so some of your questions have been answered by our speakers. Because I mean they've shared with you how they crossed over because they started doing some activities in school like internship and volunteering. It was easy for them to get placements It was easy for them to get placement when they eventually left school. And I mean, the easiest way, one of the easiest way for you to get into an organization to land your first job is to seek internship. If you perform brilliantly during internship, you there's a high possibility that you will be retained by that organization. So you may want to look out for such opportunities as well. Okay, and for our student ambassadors, one of the benefits of being a student ambassador is amongst the 5 students who are ambassadors, we look out for the best 2 or 3, and we support them by working with our partner organizations to place them for internships. Okay, so that they can get hands-on experience as well. So that's a benefit of being a student ambassador for the Nigerian Women in PR, University of Uyo. What's the place of public relations in today's world? I mean, everything rests on communication. One of my personal mantra as a PR person is that public relations is life. Communication is life, and I encourage people and say, let's live. Okay, so long as human beings need to communicate, so long as organizations need to communicate, public relations will always be critical to the existence of human beings, to the existence and success of organizations. So it is important, and public relations is not media relations. You know, you can actually do public relations without having any interaction with the media at all. I have found that many people think, because they think that PR is media relations, they somehow always want to ask, so what's the place? I mean, if I can just go on social media and share my news, what's the significance of this thing? But there's more to public relations than interacting with traditional media. Okay, there's stakeholder management, there's employee management. You need to manage your staff, your employees on behalf of the organization, and that's something that will not get into the media. Okay, and it's critical for organizations to manage their employees effectively to help them pursue their objectives as an organization. What can someone who graduated with a degree in public relations work? Where can somebody who graduated with a degree in PR work? You can work anywhere. You can work in a hospital. I mean, public relations is like an accountant. Can you think of any organization, any type of organization that doesn't need an accountant? If you deal with money, you need an accountant. If you deal with people, you need an accountant. You need a public relations person. And that's the beauty. One of the things I love most about PR, it is so versatile. I mean, over my 15 years experience in PR, I've worked in tech, I've worked in financial services, I've worked in healthcare, I've worked in education, I've worked in real estate. At the moment, we consult for healthcare consultancy groups, we consult for NGOs, we consult for, name it, we've done it. And that's the beauty of public relations. So long as organizations, any type of organization needs to interact with human beings, then you can work there as a public relations person. So there is no limitation, none, absolutely nothing stops you from saying that you want to work in any industry. You can work in a hospital, you can work in a bank. I mean, some of the biggest names in PR today are in the financial services industry. You can work anywhere as a public relations person, and you can get to the pinnacle, the zenith of your career in PR in any organization. You can become a director of communications, you can become a director of public relations in multinational organizations. Okay, so the opportunities are boundless. You are only limited by how far and how big your vision is as a public relations person. What lucrative jobs does the knowledge of PR, what type of jobs, what type of lucrative jobs can the knowledge of public relations get you? Everything. I mean, Janice has talked about Upwork, there's Fiverr. You can even start to freelance. I mean, so if you look out for some of my Medium posts at Tolu Comes on Medium, I talk about 5 strategies that PR freelancers can use to continue to get income. I've shared extensively about how public relations is not media relations, and shared the actual work that PR does outside media relations. Nigerian Women in PR also has extensive resources on all our social media platforms where we've shared information about public relations and the work that you can do. What's the difference between advertising and public relations? Very simple. Advertising is seeking to sell. Public relations is encouraging consumers to love a brand. Okay, our primary objective in PR is not to sell. Our primary objective is to get you to love this brand. I mean, when you love something, when you understand something, when you understand the perspective of something, you are more likely to engage, to give your money to that thing. And that's the objective of public relations. So we don't come out at you to say, come and buy what you are selling, come and buy what you are selling. We tell you a story that will make you love the brand, so that the next time you see an advert that says, come and buy, you will remember, oh, I love this brand, and then you want to buy or you want to do business with them. How to use public relations to manage students. I mean, it's just like saying how to use public relations to manage a business. What are the type of stories you're saying? I mean, you can even be a class representative, and you can use public relations strategies to effectively manage your colleagues. Okay? So think of events that would engender, that will foster closeness amongst your colleagues or your classmates. Think of activities, right, that you can do. Everything is mostly remote now. What are the things you can do virtually amongst your classmates that will help everybody connect with one another? What are the things that your course level can do in relation to your lecturers to get them to really understand and appreciate your classmates and your level? If you're in 300 level, 400 level, and you're the classmate, what are the things that your departmental association can do to help students in your department appreciate the course? What are the things that your departmental association can do to help other departments in your faculty appreciate the course and better understand the value that your course adds to society? These are the things that you think about as a public relations strategist that help you deliver value to your clients, to your organization, and even to your course as well. Okay, so I think that sort of answers most of the questions that we received from our participants during the event. Would like to say a very big thank you to all to everyone who registered for the event. We would like to thank the Department of Communication Arts at the University of Uyo, and of course, by extension, the head of the Department of Communication Arts at the Department of Uyo. Thank you all so much for joining us for this edition of the PR Students on Campus Summit. We are thankful and trusting that you will find that public relations is a viable career choice for you to choose to practice in as you graduate from the university. Please remember to follow our social media pages at NG Women in PR. Contribute to the conversation on Twitter, hashtag NGWIPR Student Summit, and we'll be able to share our thoughts together. Thank you all so much. Have a good evening. Bye for now.